Jack the Ripper is the most famous name given to an unidentified serial killer who was active in the poorer areas of Whitechapel, London, in 1888. The name originated from a letter written by someone claiming to be the killer, which was published in the media, but it is widely believed that the letter was a hoax, possibly written by a journalist in a deliberate attempt to increase interest in the story. The killer is also known in case files and newspaper reports as the Whitechapel Killer and the Man in the Leather Apron. The crimes attributed to Jack the Ripper involved prostitutes living and working in the slums of London, whose throats were cut before their abdomens were mutilated. The removal of internal organs from at least 3 of the victims suggested that the killer had some knowledge of anatomy or surgery. Rumors that the crimes were connected arose in September and October 1888, and several letters were sent to the media and Scotland Yard by one or more writers claiming to be the killer. One letter, called From Hell, received by George Lusk, a member of the Whitechapel Security Committee, included half a preserved human kidney, supposedly from one of the victims. Because of the unique brutality of the crimes and the way the media reported the events, the public came to believe that there was a single serial killer known as Jack the Ripper. The extensive newspaper coverage of the case gave the Ripper lasting international notoriety. The investigation into the brutal Whitechapel murders, which lasted until 1891, was unable to conclusively link all the killings to the 1888 murders, but the legend of Jack the Ripper took hold. Because the case was never solved, the legends surrounding it became historical research and folklore. The term Ripperology was coined to describe, study, and analyze the Jack the Ripper cases. There are now over 100 theories about the Ripper's identity, and the murders have inspired numerous works of fiction. In the mid-19th century, England saw an influx of Irish immigrants swelling the populations of England's major cities, including the East End of London. In 1882, Jewish refugees fleeing pogroms in Tsarist Russia and other parts of Eastern Europe began to migrate to the area. The Whitechapel civil service in the East End of London became overcrowded, working and housing conditions worsened, poverty increased, and the economy declined dramatically. Theft, violence, and alcoholism were common, and extreme poverty pushed many women into prostitution. In October 1888, the Metropolitan Police estimated that there were 62 brothels and 1,200 women working as prostitutes in Whitechapel. Economic problems were accompanied by a steady increase in social tensions, with several demonstrations taking place between 1886 and 1889, including the Bloody Sunday demonstration of 13 November 1887, which led to police intervention and further public disorder and rioting. Anti-Semitism, crime, anti-immigration, racism, social unrest, and severe deprivation led to public opinion and popular perceptions of Whitechapel as a den of corruption, depravity, and immorality. In 1888, these perceptions were reinforced when a series of brutal murders attributed to Jack the Ripper received unprecedented media coverage. Speculation about the identity of Jack the Ripper. The cover of the Puck magazine on 21 September 1889. Since the murders were most common on weekends and public holidays and were spread across a few streets close together, many believed that the Ripper was a regular employee and a local resident. Others believed that the killer was an educated man of the upper class, perhaps an anatomist because of his medical and anatomy methods, which included cutting open the victim's abdomen and dissecting it, and removing the internal organs or cutting their throats in a professional manner, or an aristocrat because he came to Whitechapel from a more affluent area. These theories gave rise to cultural notions such as fear of the medical profession, distrust of modern science, and the exploitation of the poor by the rich. The list of suspects included anyone who had been connected to the murders through contemporary documentation of the crimes, even if the connection was very distant, as well as many names. 3 suspects are named in contemporary police documents of the crimes in 1894, as in Sir Melville Macnaghten's memoir, but the evidence against them is circumstantial and indirect. Although theories about Jack the Ripper's identity and career are numerous and varied, none of them have been accepted by the authorities, and the number of suspects has reached over 100.